It's time to get all set for Sunday, a podcast for busy and distracted Catholics with your hosts, Scott Williams and Jeff Traylor.
When I hear the coffee brewing, I think, what the heck we doing? Because I got barely any sleep last night. As the diaper bag I pack with Hot Wheels dollies and some snacks, I say, oh, pray there'll be a seat in the crime room this time. It's alright, cause I'm all set for Sunday. It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for Sunday.
Welcome to All Set for Sunday, a podcast for busy and distracted and tired Catholics to be a little more prepared for Sunday Mass.
I'm that one.
My name is Scott Williams. My co-host is Jeff Traylor. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Scott. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Sorry, I was making notes for myself for later.
You're fine.
No, I'm doing great, man. I'm happy to be here. Happy to have Father Rosko here.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Father
The old grizzled vet,
Yeah,
Father Rosko over here.
Move yourself a cubic closer to the microphone.
There we go. Happy to be
I think
here.
that's a biblical
Cubit.
Cubit, whatever.
Cubic cubit.
Yes. What's new in your world? You guys staying dry up there on the north side?
Not really. We've
Okay.
had lots of leaks the past week, and then school's started, though. That's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're just wet with a lot of kids now.
That's
Yeah, the bigger the buildings, the more places they can leak, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
a good time.
I don't know. I think we were mentioning with Father Jerry Baird last week, we were talking about the flooding at Holy Rosary,
Oh,
and
he
we were
had a
saying
flood.
if you are, in Central Indiana, first off, prayers for all these like flood victims and the people who are like have lost their homes and the lives that have been lost and everything. But man, if you have a restoration company right now, like a water removal,
Yep.
you're making it happen right now. This is, I imagine, first on site is getting a whole lot
They're
of
hard
phone
people
calls
to get
from
a hold
the
of right now.
from the archdiocese. Yeah.
Lots
But
of fans.
man, we've had to have one of those companies come to our house before, and they are unbelievable. There is amazing, like how fast they work, what they get done, how like just supportive and helpful they are when you're at like your worst moment. So
I think it's interesting that the Colts have a preferred restoration company.
yeah,
They haven't restored the Colts yet, but yeah.
Who is it? What's the company?
I forget. I just remember.
It's not
seeing
but it
first
is.
on
They have like a big sponsorship. Yeah,
Could we be like the preferred Catholic sock company of the Indianapolis Colts?
I'm sure if we wrote a big enough check, we could.
Never mind.
Yeah,
Cool. All right, ready for the 21st Sunday of Ordinary Time?
I am. Yeah. Sorry, now I'm just thinking about like being the preferred Catholic sock company of the Indianapolis Colts.
Got to be specific.
Yes. All right. 21st Sunday in Ordinary Time. Our first reading comes from Isaiah chapter 22. So we got some names in here, guys, so buckle up. God removes Shebna from his position of authority and replaces him with Eliakim, and gives him the keys to the house of David. But Eliakim's authority is described powerfully when he says, when he opens, no one shall shut. When he shuts, no one shall open. So God also promises him that he can be someone the people can depend on,
Okay.
right? That he's going to be there to be supportive. So he's given us this authority, right? There's not necessarily a fancy title here, but he is giving him the keys to the kingdom, if you will,
Ooh.
and giving him that opportunity to
Foreshadowing.
open and close those doors. I know. Wink, wink. Our responsory Psalm 138, Lord, your love is eternal. Do not forsake the work of your hands.
Everyone's childhood memory
Full
song.
mumbler. Full mumbler here.
I can't even think of a melody.
Yeah, no, that's a tough one for a Sunday. I'm going to guess there's going to be a whole lot of parishes just opt for an alternate psalm this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No Alleluia option.
That has big time Wednesday daily mass vibes right
Yeah.
there. Our second reading then comes from Romans chapter 11. So Paul pauses his argument that he's having and just says, wow, God, way beyond us. God is way beyond us. He takes care of us. He marvels at the depth of God's riches, at his wisdom, at his knowledge, and just shows us that we can't always understand what God's doing, but we can recognize the riches and the gifts that he gives us in a much bigger way for us. And then our gospel comes from Matthew chapter 16, 13 to 20. Jesus went to the region of Caesarea Philippi and asked his disciples, who do people say that the Son of Man is? They replied, some say John the Baptist, others Elijah, still others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. He said to them, but who do you say that I am? Simon Peter said in reply, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Jesus said to him in reply, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my heavenly Father. And so I say to you, you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of the netherworld shall not prevail against it. I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." Then he strictly ordered his disciples to tell no one that he was the Christ.
Okay. It's a good one. I've heard that one before.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites, not necessarily because I'm deeply enthralled with the scripture, but
Is it the binding part?
yeah, I think we've talked about I don't know if I think we've talked about it on here before, but I have this deep memory of when Father McCarthy was first ordained, and I was a friend of his, and we would hang out, and sometimes I would be poking fun at him or saying something, and he would just go, "Bound," as if he was just consistently threatening to bind my sins.
I lived with him for many years, and
Yeah.
I can just picture it.
Yes. Trailer.
And he's never watched a podcast in his life, so it's not like he's going to hear you say it.
No, he said he wants.
He doesn't know how to find him.
Yeah, he once called me
believe
to ask what he said on the podcast right before he was about to preach, and I said, "Just listen to it." And he said, "I have no concept of how I would do that."
All right, Father Rosko, what do you preach on this weekend?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite gospels to preach on because it's so preachable, right? The question that the Lord asks, "Who do you say that I am?" It kind of is directed, of course, towards Simon Peter, but towards all of us, right? And it gives us a question to ponder. So I think that when we think about this question, most of us at Mass will probably say, well, of course, we believe that you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. But I think that we sometimes don't realize that how we answer that question, there's a lot at stake, right? I mean, if we say that, yes, we believe that you are Christ, you are who you say you are, then everything changes, right? Everything in our life has to change. C.S. Lewis once famously said, there's kind of three choices in answer to this question, right? Either the Lord is who he says he is, he's the Lord, or he's a liar or a lunatic. But there's no in between. You can't say I kind of believe, you're a good model, but I don't fully believe. There's no in between. It's either you are Christ or you aren't. And if you are the Christ, then that means that everything changes for us and our whole life has to change. So I think that it's an opportunity for us to reflect in our own lives and in our own hearts, how do I answer that question? And we're hopefully going to say, well, I answer like Peter, yes, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. But I would suggest that perhaps sometimes it's not always that clear in our response, right? There can be places in our hearts, places in our lives where we're afraid to answer that question because we know that if we answer it, something's going to have to change or something's going to be different, and we're just afraid to go there. So
It's going to kill a vibe.
Yeah.
Big time vibe killer.
There you go. So I think that it'll be an invitation to everybody, myself included, is to ask ourselves, where in my life am I afraid to answer this question because I'm afraid of the change? And then to
You should drop kill the vibe in your homily this weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means. What do I do?
Well,
What does that mean?
what does it mean to kill? If
Drop,
somebody
kill
kills,
the vibe?
use the phrase "kill the vibe." That's what I mean. Drop,
Okay.
I thought that you were also saying drop, kill the vibe, which was
drop
New
kick
term.
the vibe.
drop, kill is what.
I can't keep up with all of the...
We're just like
all
two
of
old
the
men
lingo.
and a priest. This is what's happening
But you have an inside track at least.
on drop killing vibes.
Well, just in, youth terminology.
Oh yes, yeah. My children speak to me like this all the time. It's either translate or die. That's where I'm living at.
I'm always a couple steps behind because the middle school kids who would know all the latest lingo, they're kind of afraid to talk to the priest about it. But it's the younger kids who are very happy to talk to the priest about it. But they're always a couple steps behind.
And they're still 6'7".
They're still on 6'7", yeah.
Yeah.
But the Pope is on 6'7". Have you seen that?
So it's back in.
Yeah, well, he's done it 2 or 3 times.
My daughter used 6'7" said it to my nephew the other day, who's in 3rd grade, and he said, "We left that back in 2025," and she was devastated. It crushed her. Anyway, we're off the rails now. All right,
great.
sorry. Drop killing the vibe.
Wait,
I did drop kill the vibe right there.
That right there, yeah.
It's so funny.
Well, there we go. So if you
Anyway.
want to hear the homily, come to St. Simon. Hopefully the vibe won't be killed.
Yeah, and the roof won't be leaking.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I do think that there's tremendous value in like Peter says, when you're able to give that yes and yes, I do, I love you, Lord, and this is who truly you say that you are. I don't know. I experienced that a little bit after college, or I went on a mission trip, And this was like the first time in my life that I wasn't really surrounded by people that I knew necessarily. So like all through, you know, grade school, middle school, high school, and even into college, like I was with people that had known me my entire life. So there was like, they had a lot of context. When I got to a place where like, oh, I don't have to be the person I used to be, I can just be the person that God created me to be. That was a game changer for me, because then like you're fully living out the person that God called you to be. Not to say, like, obviously I should have done it 5 years sooner, and I probably would have lived a much happier life for 5 years. But retrospect, hindsight's 2020. But yeah.
But there's still moments, like even as I've learned that in my life, and I know it. I mean, you and I have talked about like working for Sacrilegious, right? There are still moments where I'm in a situation where somebody asks what I do, and I have to like consciously make a decision of like, do I want to start talking about Catholic socks, or do I say I print, you know, custom printed goods and materials, like
for organizations that gather on
sites.
I call that the seminarian barbershop chair question.
Yeah.
Like as a seminarian, you know, you go get your hair cut and you're not dressed as a seminarian, and you know the barber's having all the small talk, and then he finally says, "What do you do for a living?" You can say, "Oh, I'm a student. I study philosophy." But eventually it comes out like you're a seminarian, you're studying to be a priest, and then it opens up the whole conversation. But I was thinking when you were talking about like, you know, we have to kind of answer that question in our own identity and all of that. I think that maybe I'll preach about this now. A good way that we can go from that, you know, the Lord has asked us, "Who do you say that I am?" And then we give a response. But then our response then has to be to ask the Lord, "Who do you say that I am?" Because if you are who you say you are, then that changes. I mean, that my whole understanding of myself has to reflect that, and I have to begin to understand myself in light of how you see me, right? To see myself as you see me. So I think that opens up a lot of good opportunity for prayer and going deeper with the Lord.
This reminds me of. I've got some deep theological insights today. I was watching a like clip reel when I was doom scrolling, which I shouldn't have been doing last night, of Ted Lasso moments. There's a scene in Ted Lasso where he's talking to Jamie Tart, who is like, you know, a pretty full of himself player of his, and he said, "Jamie, what do you think? Are you a cheetah or a zebra?" And he looks at me, he goes, "Coach, I'm me. Why would I want to be anything else?" And he says to him, "I don't think you have any idea how deeply profound that actually is." That's so he's like, that's the healthiest thing you could possibly say. But it's something that's been sticking in my head, and I think it speaks to this idea of like, what, you know, we put ourselves in a situation where we want to try to not be the thing that we know we are, the thing we know we're called to be, the thing we know that we truly can be, right? And so, yeah, recognizing that like being that, even when it's tough, is absolutely the best thing we can be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Lord gives us all the hope that we need for that, right? Like, what does he say to Simon Peter as he just confesses him as the Christ? He says, "You are Peter, on this rock I will build my church, give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven," right? So he gives us the church and all of the graces that are communicated to us through the church, through the sacraments, to really continuously answer that question throughout our lives and in our own identities, and finding our identity as, you know, a beloved son or daughter of God, a child of the church, a son and daughter of the church, you know, in all these ways.
There is a moment, I love the last line in here where he says he strictly orders them to like tell no one, right?
The messianic secret.
Yes. But I think it's great because I think it's like this moment, like, again, in my brain, dumb brain, I imagine he's like, "You see how cool it was to watch it? Like, you guys should have seen how great it was to watch you all realize it on your own. So like, let's not tell anybody. Let's just, you get that experience too of other people realizing it, other people coming to that realization and seeing that."
Well, and that's our job as the church now, right? Is to proclaim that and to help people come to that realization and to be able to answer that question for themselves in the proper way, right?
And to tell them, right? Like I think I talked about it a couple months ago on here, but Father Patrick Hyde, he and I were having a conversation one day, and he was talking about like that our responsibility is to tell people about Jesus Christ and about that. We don't all have to be theologians. We don't have to convince them. That's God's job. Like, and that's what the Lord does for us. Mm-hmm. But we live our lives and we just share that this is a thing we believe. And he said so many times he'll have conversations with young people, especially, who are like so nervous to start that conversation because they don't feel like they have the depth behind it to share. And he's like, but if it's what you believe, you just share what you believe. Yeah. And, you know, and you can say, and when people say, well, what about this? You can say, you know what? I don't know, but I'll ask somebody. Mm-hmm. I'll go find out. Let's look it up together. Like, you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to and it says right in here, right, that he, flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my heavenly Father. Like, the Lord will reveal it. He'll give that depth. He'll provide that that guidance and everything. Like, but we have to be willing to just say the thing.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. To potentially drop kill the vibe.
Still don't know what that means, but
Yeah.
I was.
It means nothing.
I just had
There's
the
always money in
privilege-
the banana stand.
I just had the privilege to work with a young man in becoming Catholic. He just graduated high school. I was going to college at IU, but he decided he wanted to become Catholic. And so I was meeting with him over the summer, kind of giving him instructions and preparing to receive him into the church before he went off to college. And very bright, very well read. And I remember he asked me a question in one of our meetings. I didn't know the answer to it. And I was just shocked. I'm like, wow. And it was a humbling experience, but then it allowed me to go and find the answer and share it with him and grow in my own knowledge and depth. So I think we should never be afraid, because there always is an answer, right?
Yeah.
There's always an answer, and it'll be there. You just got to look for it.
Yeah.
Or you just say,
That's
hey,
one of
it's a
the-
mystery.
That too. That too.
Shh, it's a messianic secret.
Yeah. The phrase "I don't know" is like the greatest tool for evangelization possible. It's like, it gives you the permission to still have the conversation, but not to have know all the answers. But no, there is an answer that you can go find out and then bring back to him and continue the conversation.
And I think it's a good witness to your faith to the person, like, you to show like the depth of your belief, like your trust in the Lord and in the church, that you don't know the answer, but there is one and you trust that.
Yep. Are you ready for us to answer some dumb questions?
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll see what the vibe
Jeff,
is.
you want to drop kick us
Did I
off
use
with
that
one?
right?
The vibe?
The vibe,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. You can do it. You can. You don't want to kill the vibe. That's the phrase. Anyway, yeah, we'll just teach you slang. Yeah. Start off by going, bruh. Just start your
I can't do it. Can't do it.
the why did I write? I don't know why I wrote that down.
What does it say?
One of your favorite podcasts.
What's one of your favorite podcasts?
I don't know why I wrote that down. Anyway.
I know how to get to a podcast, but I can't say that I watch many podcasts. This is probably
You
really
listen
the
to
only
them,
podcast
usually.
or listen. Do you listen?
Usually
Are they
listen.
videos? Are we videoing right now?
There's video. I
Yeah.
mean, this would go on YouTube.
The
It'd be a
YouTubes.
YouTube video of a podcast.
Okay.
But I think canonically speaking, podcasts are audio first.
Canonically.
Well, I'll say all set for Sunday. That's my go-to podcast.
No, we were talking about back to school time. I'm sure like you're going into your second year at St. Simon now, which is great. Like you know, this is your longest assignment ever
Yeah.
so far for you.
So far.
But the kids are coming back. I'm sure that there is, much like with teachers and people, like the summer hits and there's kind of a relief, right? You get a little bit of a break and a little breathing room. But at a certain point, a big empty building just feels big and empty, right? Like that you miss that energy, you miss the people and everything. Like, how is it now that you're back here, you're at school, you're in year 2 at St. Simon, but year 3 now with a school that you've been, what's that been like coming back into the year?
You're right, is that kind of when the summer starts, you're ready for a break, and
Yeah.
you're okay with a little bit of quiet, but then it gets really quiet and you miss the kids. You miss having them around, having them at mass, being able to go visit them in the cafeteria, the classrooms. Father Vince and I try to be there at dismissal every day that we can be. I'm going to miss it today because I'm recording the podcast, but
Sorry to the
That's okay.
parishioners
Sorry,
of St.
kids.
Simon.
that's okay. There's
My
one
niece. She's going to be furious.
But yeah, you miss having them because they're part of the family, right? And it's been a joy to have them back. We had our first school mass last week, so Father Vince had the mass, but I was there as well, helped distribute communion, and it was beautiful. Yeah, it's good. It's been great coming in the second year because I know a lot of them and a lot of them know me. So to
Yeah.
be able to build on those relationships and be like, wow, you've grown, and just have that connection with
They
them.
said that to you?
Yes.
All right. So coming back year 3 now, like every time we go, when we go to school for all these years, you learn, what are the lessons you've learned in your first 2 years as a parochial vicar of a school? Now heading into year 3, like, okay.
Yeah. I've found that the best way to connect with the kids, classroom visits are great. I don't do the candy. Father Vince does. I don't. The classroom visits are great, but it's been being there at dismissal and then being there in the cafeteria. I think in those moments you have lots of great connections, and you're able to learn their names and talk with them. So I've found that that's been really good. And of
There's
course,
transformational power in a high five.
there is.
There just really,
There
really is
really
with kids
is.
at any
Yeah.
age, through high school and everything.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Also, I think that they're very, very hungry for connections in the faith, right? Like to be able to see like a priest, right, who like just is embodying the faith just by how we dress, even to have a connection and to talk about Christ and to talk about the things that matter. They have lots of questions. They have lots of questions for Father Vince because it's usually about exorcism, right? He was telling me today we were having lunch in the rectory, and he was telling me today, like, the kids were asking him about exorcism in the hallways, and he's like, it's week 2. Like, how'd you talk about that?
Listen, Father Vince, when you got a thing, you got a thing. Everyone knows about it.
I don't even do this anymore.
Yeah.
Who's your barber? Do you have a regular barber, or do you just go to like a Great Clips?
I don't go to Great Clips. No, it took me a while to find a place that I liked at the north side, but I go to a place, it's called Machos. I don't really have a
That's
set
fitting.
barber. Is it?
You're pretty macho, dude.
Yeah, thank you. But it's not always the same person, but I think they do a good job.
Got
Yeah,
it.
your hair looks great. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
and you have hair.
I have hair.
Like
Yeah.
steps in the right direction
That
for
is
a
good,
Catholic
yeah.
priest. Yeah. All right. I've been asking this question on the podcast recently here.
The repeater.
Yes. You're 3 now as a priest. You've been doing this for just a little while. I did think it was funny today that you were like, this is one of my favorite gospels to preach on. And I was like, how many times have you gotten to? But wondering what are some of the like most interesting or odd things we've been talking about? Like, we sit in the pews and look up at the sanctuary and see the priest, but you get a view unlike any other from up front of what's going on out in the crowd there, especially having schools and stuff. What are some of the most interesting things that you've seen or have caught your attention from?
Yeah, so you see also, I try not to pay much attention to that because, as I'm praying, I try to focus on, the gifts on the altar, on the Lord when he's present in the Eucharist. But,
but the readings are happening.
Sure, you do see things sometimes.
Somebody's got to get up before Mass and talk about it.
One of my favorite stories, I wasn't the celebrant. Father Vince was the celebrant, but he was telling me about it. At St. Simon, we have at the offertory procession, the kids all come up and bring canned goods and put them in little crates to give to our food pantry. So you sit down after the homily, and there's just the flood of kids running up, and it's always chaos. But if you watch, sometimes you can see interesting things. So I guess there was one kid, and our crates where they put the food are right by the baptismal font. There was one kid who had a can of tuna, and he walks up, and then he throws it, and it went right into the baptismal font, the can of tuna. And then the kid, is very concerned about this, and the dad gets up and runs over and has to fish the tuna out of the baptismal font.
The old ahi baptism.
Caught a tuna.
The tuna wanted to go swimming, I guess.
The ahi baptism. Go to your.
At our school mass, so I know the teachers will take care of it. I never have to.
That's the procedure.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. There's another story. Again, it didn't happen to me. It's a Father Vince story. Back when he was still the exorcist. I guess I can tell that. Why not? He was celebrating Mass in Brookville back when he was pastor there, and I guess somebody who was possessed had come unannounced to see him. They just got on a plane, flew there, and
which I imagine happens to him.
I think it did.
Yeah,
I think it probably did. And they just showed up while he was saying Mass in the back of the church. So he's celebrating Mass. Looks up, "The Lord be with you," or whatever it is, and all of a sudden he sees these people in the back, and then the demon started manifesting in the woman, and like her tongue turned into a snake tongue, and like everything is, and he's just looking there, like seeing this happening as he's trying to say the preface, So he's like, well, I prayed that, God would take care of that until I can get to her after Mass, and that I could finish the Mass and nobody would see it. And I guess that's what happened. So then he dealt with it after Mass. But I think
this might be the end of this round of this question.
Yeah. I don't know how you
I don't know if they're, yeah. Somebody else can be like, I saw somebody trip in line one day.
But what's the most interesting thing you've seen?
Yeah.
You've given lots of stories about Father Vince, but
there's not really much.
No? Nothing?
Other than the occasional vomiting. And
hey,
how about sleeping? How often do you see people asleep?
I've never noticed someone sleeping. I've noticed people kind of looking
You're
around,
just not
distracted,
looking, yeah.
But I've never noticed someone sleeping.
All right. Well, Father, thank you for joining. I'm sorry you missed dismissal, but
that's okay.
I'll give you a high five on the way out.
There we go.
I bet Jesus gave high fives, or whatever biblical version of a high five was.
Probably a smile. It's like a high five.
Yeah, or like a fist bump.
There we go.
Yep. All right.
There we go.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye.
It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for. It's alright, cause I'm all set for Sunday.